Well, good morning and a great greeting to you from your Covid Chaplain. Great to have you with us for the start of another week. Now, last week we did Surprise Week, and I loved the idea of having a theme that we actually carried through the week. So I thought, what could we do this week that would be worthy of you getting some stimulus each day to be able to achieve something? Well, of course, achieving something is a great theme for any particular part of our life. Especially as we face lockdown and limitations, it can be all the harder to actually get something done. You can kind of feel like, what can I do? I can't go anywhere, I can't call anybody, all the limitations that hold you in. But I want you to know that it's actually God's intention that you are productive. You might say, well, really? Yes, it is, because when Adam and Eve were created, right back at the very beginning, they were told to be fruitful and multiply, so have family and grow and fill the earth. But then God talked about subduing the earth. He talked about making something useful out of it, maybe changing the channel of a creek and putting in a garden bed and removing trees, being productive so that there would be a fruitfulness, there would be more for people to share, there would be a sense of order. All of those things come out of us being productive. So it's actually in our mandate to be productive people. So I'm going to call this Productivity Day. And guess what? We might run that through the week and look at this week being a week when you actually get something done. Now, for some of you, that's pretty easy. You get off to work, you've got a whole lot of things that you do all the time. You're kind of always ticking boxes and getting things done. That's great. Good on you. Have a great week. Other people are feeling like, I'm stuck at home, nothing I can do, haven't got any talents, and you feel like really down on yourself because being productive is like the impossible dream, How could I actually be productive? Well, that's where you're going to need some inspiration. You're going to need, firstly, some motivation from me. That's my job. But then to maybe say, God, what could I actually do that would be productive? What is there that I could do that would actually make a blessing? And it doesn't have to be for you. I've got friends who grow things in the garden and they pass the vegetables or whatever they're growing around to someone else. I know some people that have actually got specialty herbs, ones that are supposed to be really good for this or for that, and they've struggled to cultivate them so they can give these rather difficult to get things to people that might need them. Some of them, of course, sell them for money. Other people do it to bless somebody. And so there's all sorts of ways that you could think about being productive. I know women generally are more productive than men, and I have to admit that. A man might sit down in front of the television and just stare at the Google box, whereas the wife sits down and she might be knitting or she might be checking something while she's watching. Women seem to have the ability to do, more than one thing at a time. Us blokes at times can find it difficult to walk and chew gum at the same time. But the idea then is to think of what you could do, something you can add into what you're doing, overlay on top of what you're doing, get a 2-for-1, where as you do one thing, you're actually achieving something else as well. All of these are the ideas that come into Productivity Day and Productivity Week. To be able to look back at the end of this week and say, guess what? I actually picked up that thing that had been languishing and left in a shelf for ages, and I made some progress on that thing. Or I got a project started that I'd never started before, or I finished something I'd never finished before. So a time to think about being productive. Now, I'm not going to smack your hand if you can't be productive. Honestly, look, this is the real world. We've got to live with the situation we've got. But my job is to encourage you to be able to feel good about yourself. And to encourage you to have something to do with it, especially if you are locked down and really limited. I want to be the guy that's there cheering for you and giving you the encouragement to get on and try something you may not have done before. So if you're at a complete loss, you don't know what to do, you're stuck in a home, then do a walk. Walk around every room and maybe even open a couple of cupboards and say, God, there's got to be something I can do that would be productive, and I want you to show me what it is. Now, maybe there's something you have to do from outside the home, someone you've got to call, something you've got to get, something you've got to buy. Well, if that's what it is, then follow that through, because I want you this week to feel like you really have been productive. In fact, why don't you set a plan that you're going to sit down at 3 o'clock this afternoon and celebrate having done something that was productive. Bake a cake if that's what you can do. Ring a friend and build a bit of a relationship if that's what you can do. But find something where you can be productive. Why? Because this bloke, your COVID chaplain, has declared that this is Productivity Day. And what's more, it's the beginning of Productivity Week. Let's have a great week seeing what God can lead us to do. And as you do, God bless you.